All right, guys, thanks for joining. Quick little fireside chat here between THOR and Brompton. We've got Bruce and Cesar from the Brompton team, and Stefan and Barry representing THOR, and I'm Brian with the THOR team as well. Just going to chat for a bit about the partnership, about what's happening in the industry, and some of the new and exciting things we've both been working on together. So, quick question to throw out at the group. How did the THOR Brompton partnership start, and what has that looked like over the years?
Well, that's a great question, Brian. From my standpoint, just a little bit of history I think is worthwhile to go over, and that is I spent 20 years as a systems integrator, designing, installing, doing a lot of work in entertainment venues, house of worship, things like that. And that then turned into THOR as a manufacturer. There's a long story there. We're not going to go over that today, but in my days as an integrator, I was always looking for the right product to fit what the customer needs were. And when it came to LED, I really saw Brompton as the, kind of the pinnacle when it comes to the visual accuracy, the color science, getting all those things right. And so that's where, when THOR, at the very origin, we started designing products, we brought, Elijah Ebo and Rob and the team that were there at the beginning of Brompton to the table and started developing product together. And it's just been a really, really fun and great partnership together. So,
Cool.
Yeah, obviously there has been so much evolution in the partnership over the years. But for us in Brompton, the most important thing is we don't work with every single panel manufacturer. It has to look good, right? This is part of our identity. And working with people that have a similar concept of what AV should be is very, very important. And this is where things merge together very well when we work with THOR.
right.
Yeah, that's great. So I think there's an alignment there that Brompton announced the partnerships, a year or so ago, and THOR came on as a blue partner with Brompton. So what does that mean? What's involved there?
A few things. Part of the being a blue partner is that we work with each other for marketing opportunities, trying to work well with each other and help extend the reach of both products, whether it's on trade shows or just being present like we are today here.
It's a lot about how we work together. We have been working very, very closely on QA.
Yeah.
And it is more of a recognition of that. It's recognizing that we have been partners for so long, and it has been such an important partner for us, having people like THOR that really believe in doing things in a certain way that aligns with our mentality. And then it involves, obviously, marketing, etc. But I think that the most important part is it recognizes for customers that we work together to give them the best experience. And that's what it means to have this blue partnership.
Right.
Yeah, I think from my perspective, it really speaks to, there's a lot of people that are Brompton customers, but there are few that are partners. And to me, that partnership really speaks to the collaboration, which we've been doing since the very beginning together. And it's something that, with Brompton releasing, the partner program, it just speaks to our collaboration together, both on the engineering side, the tech support, marketing together, and helping expand the knowledge to the industry about what THOR, what Brompton, what we bring to the table, and what those opportunities are. So that's how I see it, and one of the reasons why I was excited to be a part of the partnership.
Yeah.
And as well, it's a recognition to, as Stefan was mentioning before, we have been working for many, many years in the past. But what it means is that as well, we have been in development of panels, systems. We have been listening to your feedback, guys, to know how to evolve as well. This is what the partnership is. This is basically, yes, we have many partners, many people that we work with, but we are just acknowledging the main ones that come is helping us grow. We have been growing together with.
Yeah.
I think I've seen from my end the alignment between the two teams in how we interact with customers, in how we support customers. Brompton's support process team is second to none. And that's been a great experience to see. I'd love to hear specifically on the development of new products. So Stefan, as THOR is engineering the next LED product, you mentioned collaboration. What does that process look like? How is Brompton involved in the collaboration of a new panel design?
Sure, it's a great question. The thing about working with Brompton is it may be a secret to some, but it's not a secret to me that the standards that you have are very high when it comes to, again, color accuracy, grayscale, and just how everything works together. So that collaboration for us begins at day zero. When we're developing a new product, we're bringing your team in, we're collaborating and making sure that the choices that we're making along the way don't mean compromise when it comes to the software side. Because in a design of a panel, there's all the hardware. There's the LED lamps, there's the IC drivers, there's the circuit board design, there's all the layers. But then there's the software side where you can fix problems with software. And the collaboration is all about choosing the right level of components and the design so we minimally use the software tools, so to speak, to fix problems that we can fix on the hardware side. That's
Nice.
what the collaboration speaks to from my perspective.
And when you're talking about developing a new panel, we with some partners we try to help as much as we can. For us, it's very very important that, and that's why we work only with partners that have certain standards, right? It's really important that you manage to get the best panel possible. I mean, one of the things we feel very proud that the same panel with two different systems is going to look better usually in Brompton because of the way we calibrate, etc.
What do you mean usually? Come on.
I don't want I don't want to do absolute in here. Yes, exactly. I agree. but yes, exactly. So we like to work very closely with the partners, the ones that allow us, because some people as well they have their own ways of filtering and they want to do things their own way. But to make sure that that the panels and the experience when you are looking at an LED, direct view LED, is going to be amazing.
Amazing. It's fun. So what I want to do is spend a little bit of time talking through some of the different markets that we both serve together. What are the challenges? What are the trends? How are we collaborating through that process to address some of those challenges, those needs, solve those problems together? So THOR was really birthed out of the house of worship market. Most of us have a background, or several of us have a background there. And so we're very familiar with many of the challenges. And one specifically that I would hit is whether you're using LED for IMAG or a broadcast environment, maybe a multi-campus church, skin tones, flesh tones are so crucial to get that right. How do you accomplish that? What does that look like?
Well, for one thing, our processors give the end users a lot of tools to accomplish that. A lot of color handles to really dial that panel to make it look its best. We also have our dynamic calibration method using Hydra. So that panel manufacturers use to, because right out of the manufacturing, the panels look great. However, we thought we could assist them make the panels a little bit better. So we created the Hydra camera. What that will do is calibrate each pixel to 6504 Kelvin. So you're ensuring that those panels are going to be not only accurate, but the panel is going to be evenly balanced. And also it opens up other options. So you have HDR and some other features like thermocal, which deals with heat dissipation across the panel. And then of course, once you dynamically calibrate a panel, it opens up PureTone to deal with linearity issues on a panel. So all these things, we help the panel manufacturer make sure their panel looks its absolute best.
Yeah.
That's one of the main things for us is getting a panel that already looks really good and just getting the maximum performance out of every single pixel. And that's the whole thing. I mean, you guys work really, really hard. You have really high quality panels. We want to make sure that we are using that panel as much as we can to make it look absolutely perfect. And this is where you get the depth of color, where you get the dynamic range, the accuracy in the skittles, all those kind of things are happening by utilizing the technologies that you guys developed.
Yeah, I think for a lot of our clients that go with a Brompton process system, one of the reasons that we recommend it is because of the consistency. That calibration in a one-off situation is going to be very accurate, skin tones and all of that. But for a church like Life Church that we're in, they have 50 campuses around the country, and they want each of those experiences to be the same. And so using Brompton calibration technology, good quality panels equals the same result at every location. To the extent that in those situations, the panels are calibrated so perfectly that they're actually calibrating the rest of their system to the LED wall and not the other way around. So we're solving real world problems with this technology that's really connecting well and working for our clients. Again, not just accuracy, but yeah, just excellent performance.
It's the consistency there, and that's one thing I want to speak to is Brompton is part of the tool, and the selection of components is critical to that tool functioning properly. So the things like you mentioned, Bruce, the PureTone, that's like an algorithm that your Hydra system, it has how many, like 6 cameras or something? There's multiple different cameras that are looking at different things, and it's looking at the performance, was it at brightness, and as the brightness ramps down, you're able to kind of like, for the audio guys watching this, it's like when loudspeakers came out with FIR filters, you could reverse some of the anomalies that, cause distortion or problems in the loudspeaker. And so the audio quality improved significantly over the last, 5-10 years. We've now got, I'll say, a similar technology where if there's an inconsistency in the performance curve of, let's say, an IC driver or an LED lamp, that largely can be reversed out with PureTone and the various calibration pieces. But the most important thing to realize is if somebody's out there saying, hey, I'm gonna buy a new LED wall, and they just buy anything and say, well, Brompton's going to fix it, you have to have the right tools to begin with. And that really starts at the point of the LED lamp or the pixel selection. That needs to be within the right color gamut to be able to reproduce the colors, because you can't make an LED pixel make a color it can't make. There's the baseline, which is so important in choosing a product, and then, having the right tools along the way to get that, the D65, the white balance. And like Barry, what you were saying is they're using that as the standard to calibrate, their front of house or the video display monitors and things. That's the standard now.
Yeah, we want the artist to have the tools that serve them, that they can pull from and create with confidence, that whenever I, on my editing machine, create the content that looks perfect on the wall, it's going to translate and look exactly like that.
I want to highlight that obviously color and stud pitch, these are the things that this doesn't see.
Yeah.
But a panel has a lot more behind that. It's not multiplexing, refresh rates, and I'm not talking about video refresh rate. I'm talking about the actual effective refresh rate of the panel. That is much faster. And how do we send information to it? And what are the capabilities to exploit and to show you the best content possible by this panel that might not have anything to do with what you are directly seeing or what you can acknowledge that you are seeing in the screen.
Yeah.
So this is across all industries, but specifically seen in the house of worship space, stewardship, understanding where you're spending those dollars and how you're investing them wisely, that's very important. Few people would categorize either THOR or Brompton as a budget brand. So we want to really look at it from a total cost of ownership standpoint. How do you guys speak about that? How do how do we represent that total cost of ownership to a church customer specifically and help them understand what it looks like to steward that investment well and be mindful in how they're spending those dollars?
I
Sure, you
think,
want to take that?
yeah, I think it starts with what is my vision? What do I want to achieve? And to work from that point and make sure that I've got the correct tools to achieve that result. If my standard is high and I want everything to represent well, everybody's used to looking at a perfectly calibrated iPhone. If I want my display in my room to look like that, and my intended target is very high, then the quality of gear has to match that. So I think you have to start with what is my vision, what is the goal, and then make sure I select the correct tool. And I think Brompton and THOR represent how to achieve the highest quality results out of these types of systems.
There's many different layers to what the total cost of ownership, as you put it, means. And it will be different in different devices, but reliability. And it's not only how much, it's how expensive it's going to get over time. It's about what the experience is while you are using it, right? I mean, what is the support? What are you getting out? As you mentioned, a lot of people feel like, oh, what do I want to achieve? How good it has to be? But I think that a lot of people, that many the new people that is getting into the industry, undermines their own quality standard.
Yeah.
Because as you say, everybody's used, luckily for all of us, everybody's getting very, very used to really high quality screens.
Yeah.
I mean, iPhones are a horrible standard for everybody else.
Yeah.
What you want to do
Yeah.
on a MacBook, right?
Yeah.
And so people do recognize that maybe that it wasn't like that just not that many years ago. People do recognize good video quality. And they recognize dynamic range and depth of color and all these kind of things. The eyes becoming more and more trained over time. What you don't want to do is to buy a system and year and a half later think like, this is not what I need, or this is not what I want, or this is not even worse, what my customers want. This is where things start getting troublesome. If you buy a system that, for whatever reason, it doesn't work properly, doesn't give you the right quality, or doesn't give you the right reliability, and you lose a customer, that is going to be 10 times more expensive than the margin that you're going to lose in the PO, the initial PO that you thought with your system.
Yes.
Or if you are the end user and you buy an LED wall and it doesn't meet your needs, and then you have to buy another one.
Yeah.
If you've been around THOR for more than 5 minutes, you've heard someone say, buy your second LED wall first. And that's not just the cheesy catchphrase. I mean, it is also a cheesy catchphrase, but in reality, we've seen so many times people who will attempt to save some money, go with a lesser quality product that maybe 6-9 months in, they're disappointed, they're frustrated, it's not achieving the goal that it was purchased for. So now we've effectively thrown away dollars, and now we have to spend again to buy the right thing. So I feel like THOR and Brompton, again, align pretty well on that. Wow, if we can get it right the first time, we're helping ourselves in the long run.
Yeah. One thing, Brian, I want to speak to that. I know this is something we were going to address, but one of the pieces I really appreciate about Brompton is the R2 receiving card, the very first one you shipped, to the R2 Plus card that you're shipping today, and then any of the processors are all working on the same software platform, and everything is cross-compatible. There is one software platform, and that upgrades over time. Now, before the Hydra calibration system, you had another system that was a little more complex, a little more cumbersome. The Hydra is a huge improvement. We can even take old panels that were not Hydra calibrated, Hydra calibrate them, and see a performance boost.
Breathe new life.
Exactly,
Right.
exactly.
And that is the main idea, right? I mean, we realized when we try to develop, or when we developed HDR, we realized that the main issue is like, okay, we can do whatever we want, but they're still not getting the, as I was referring to before, the max good performance out of every single pixel in every single panel, right? And the main reason was because the calibration was not good enough. And that's why the Hydra cover came along. And for us, was so important that all the customers that were already in the market, I mean, some people with rental stock with hundreds of processors and thousands of panels that were able to just recalibrate these panels. I mean, we cannot avoid that steps,
Right.
but still with the same equilibrium,
Yeah.
achieve something better. And this is for us a very important thing, and that's why panels have to be reliable. That's why panels have to have high quality, and why we partner with people like THOR, because if we are doing that for our customers, and then they have to buy new panels because they cannot achieve HDR anyway,
Yeah.
or they have to, the panel is spanning for whatever reason that they need to have new ones, you are losing half the experience there.
Yeah.
Yeah. We mentioned earlier THOR kind of coming out of that house of worship world or really initiating there, beginning there. Brompton seemingly really thriving in the live performance, rental, staging. They're both very demanding environments. So, and they cross over in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
So in that rental, staging, live event space where you're in and out all the time and it has to perform, it has to be accurate, it has to be reliable, but you also need those creative tools. You need the artist palette, but it has to perform the same way every day. How do you achieve that?
Well, you mentioned earlier about having the feature set, the deep feature sets within Brompton to allow end users to really dial that panel. You always have somebody who's going to walk into a room and say, you know what? And it's usually a content creator or someone higher up is like, that blue it's off. So you want to be able to have a system such as Brompton that will allow you to do it quickly and efficiently, and it makes you the client ends up feeling that I feel confident that these guys are doing their job correctly. So you retain that client. They feel that you're knocking out of the ballpark.
Yeah.
This is actually what important. I mean, at the end, we are all trying to make happy our brands, right? We want to make it beautiful visuals to create a great experience. Because when you get into less events, but more into the fixed install live events kind of thing, conferences and corporate jobs, and you go into a room and let's imagine, without giving names, soda drink with a very defined break. And let's imagine that you get into that room and the polos of the staff is going to be that red, the tablecloths are going to be that red, the swag is going to be that exact red because that red is studied for years and years. And suddenly your LED is a little bit orange. And then what do you do with it? And that is really, really important. I mean, just being able to modify specifically these colors, like the torch, like chromatic. Obviously, the panels will have to be able to achieve it as well. And again, we go back to everything has to be working together in order to give the best experience.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I think beyond just the color and calibration side, there's also so many other features that are very rich in the Brompton ecosystem that are really beneficial for those rental partners. Things like redundancy. You can have processor redundancy. I might not use the correct terms, but a cable loop. So that way, if you lose signal halfway through your chain, the other side picks up. If I put up panels, we're running and gunning, we're moving fast. We don't have time to make sure everything's lined up perfectly. Well, we're going to see seams. So you've created OSCA, a way to go through and correct seams for that application.
If it's like a bright line or a dim line, that can be corrected on the fly.
Yeah. If panel batches got mixed and matched and they don't quite match, you can go into cabinets or particular modules and correct. So many tools. And then I just remembered stacking as well. So if I've got, a large system and I've got 3 processors and I want to change that red on all of them, I don't have time to go do it 3 times. If I have them all stacked and linked together, essentially, I can change it in one spot and they all follow. So it's a very rich feature set for that application.
And I think tying into that and tying back to the consistency of Brompton, the very first receiving card to the ones you're shipping today, the very first processor to the ones you're shipping today, they're all cross-compatible. So if I'm a rental and staging partner and I buy, let's say I've got 500 panels, but I've got a show that needs 1,200, I can cross-rent and know that if I'm cross-renting Brompton, there's not going to be any compatibility issues across the processing that I have and the panels that I'm cross-renting. The other piece that I think is really, really amazing that you guys have done is in the color space, using what's called the maximum achievable. There's a setting we can go into, and if you've got panels from 2 different batches, you can then, I'll say, basically shrink the color space that's illuminated on the panels so that you're matching as close as possible with what's called the maximum achievable. I don't know if there's more to speak on that, but I think it's a key piece when you're thinking about if, let's say, you're a smaller rental and staging customer and you can only invest in 100 panels or something like that, but you've got larger shows, what does that look like to be able to cross-rent? And I feel that I've seen even local partners in the Minneapolis area where we're based that have made that shift because of how easy it is to have the availability of additional tiles, additional processing, because of everything being on the one platform.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, the thing is that for us, it's very important as well to listen to customers. Most of these things are coming from listening to our customers.
Yeah.
We need X or Y. Things like stacking definitely was something that has been on the board for a very long time. And it is the direct feedback from customers.
Yeah.
Other tools, I mean, when things like virtual production came up, shuttersync became the main feature that we have to develop.
Yeah.
Making something that will make two things that are not linked. I will say that a million times. But cameras and LEDs are not meant to work together. But we made it happen. And again, taking advantage of the quality of the LEDs and the refresh rates and etc. This is how you achieve good things. And so yes, for us it's very important. Things like color and how to match different budgets. It's not ideal. We all have been in that situation. I remember a massive show with a checkerboard all over. And being able to do it in a reliable way that is gonna at least let the customers not notice what is happening is very, very important.
Yeah. I'm glad you mentioned the studio XR VR piece. That's an area where THOR has seen a lot of growth over the last couple of years, and obviously an area that Brompton has been at the leading edge of for several years. What are some of the challenges you run into there? How are you addressing those challenges? What are the pain points that you see?
I mean, there have been many pain points with everything in the system. I mean, virtual production for me is an amazing industry just because it changed the way everybody was using everything. From lighting to synchronization to media servers to render nodes. I mean, Unreal suddenly got in there as a gaming engine. But for us, it's like first making sure that the panels and the cameras work perfectly in synchronization.
Yeah.
You can achieve a very similar experience as you have in direct view through a camera. That, although for some people might not be that that obvious, it is quite complicated.
Yeah.
And I cannot stress enough how important it is to have good funnels in order to be able to achieve me. Because we have to control certain parameters that then it will affect the other three pins that the panel work, the ways the panel works. So that definitely is very, very important. Things like HDR were very important. Luckily, we were already there by the time this technology arrived. So just showing shutter sync now. I mean, these bands that you have seen them, and it puts a pawn in front of an LED has seen it. The problem is about how expensive it can get if you get it wrong.
Yeah.
If you get a shoe bit, you don't notice because this is the obvious one. But if you have it only in certain parts of the radiance, and suddenly you go to post-production and you realize that every single shot of that radiance looks bad in post-production,
Throw it out.
what do you do?
Yeah, start over.
Start up. It's quite
Spend a lot of money.
Oh my gosh.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And to go to the extreme of that, I mean, I have been in situations when you arrive on site and they are like, oh, we're having this issue. What's the issue? That. Can we fix it? Okay, this is before Brompton, right? What are you using? We are using something else and not even next. Something else and this chip panel. And it's like, we have a problem, right? We have a problem because this is not going to happen. You spend 2, 3, 4 days trying to fix it. It doesn't fix. The whole team is waiting. Everybody's demotivated now. there is a live event, actually a live broadcast happening in 2 days' time. So now everybody's rushing. This is not still not looking good. It's looks better, but it's still not good.
Yeah.
How expensive that is?
Just cut that scene from the movie.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it is actually more important than some people might think to get it right from the very beginning.
Yeah.
We go back to what he was saying about, selecting the right system,
Right.
exactly what you need.
Yeah. What's the result? And am I putting the right tools in place to achieve that result? It's pretty straightforward in my mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've
Yeah.
got shutter sync, and then we talked about kind of the linear capturing PureTone
Yeah.
as you get to those gradients, making sure that's represented correctly and cleanly through the camera lens. What does that look like? How do you
Right.
do this?
The thing is that things like PureTone, well, that was a next step, right? Okay, so now we don't have artifacts, but we are trying to. One of the things with cinema is that, and we were talking about the quality, and training the eye, and how good people is getting used to it. If there is someone that knows what they are looking at, that's it, cinematographers, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and they create the content, and the designers create the content, and then they put it in the LED, and they're expecting real work. They're expecting,
Yeah.
because this is what we're trying to recreate. You're trying to recreate the real world in an LED, and for it to look like that in camera. It is a really complex thing.
Sure.
So with tool like PureTone, we take advantage again of the refresh rate that the palettes can give you in order to improve the low gradients because of electronics and what Stefan was explaining before. They can struggle sometimes every single LED to represent the colors in very low brightness. So it is very important to be able to, to show it as the designers intended.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So we've talked a lot about the live event, whether that be rental staging, churches. We've talked about XR, VR. We're seeing a lot of growth, a lot of movement on the fixed installation side of things. We just announced a new panel here at the show, kind of moving that direction, filling some needs. How are we partnering together? And what are you seeing even on the Brompton side as far as industry trends related to the fixed installation, corporate install side of things?
Well, I can say that what I'm seeing out there is the need for tighter pixel pitches, right? With that, you want a processing that's going to be able to handle that need. We do have an answer to that. We have our SQ200 that's coming around. So that will handle AK canvases up to 36 million pixels to push around. So I think that's going to solve some of the problems of people that want these beautiful looking panels at such a tight pixel pitch. And we have enough power behind it to assist with that.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I'm quite glad that obviously THOR is releasing patterns like this. Now, because this is where the industries are going. I mean, we have done virtual production on rental and house of worship and all these kind of things. But at the end, the market that is evolving the most and where the most requirements are going to be is pixels.
Right.
Anywhere you go, any building
Yep.
has a list.
Yeah.
Any shops.
It is. It really is. And this is something that, I mentioned earlier. I talked to Elijah with your team probably 5 years ago that I said, I see fixed installation as an area of huge opportunity. And, you mentioned the corporate event with the soda company where everything's red. Well, how about their headquarters? How about, those types of things? The product, they want walls, they want boardrooms, all of these types of things. And so that's what we've worked to answer is, there's no shortage of product in the industry. That's quite apparent if you take 10 minutes and walk around the show floor. But we're partnering together to hit that quality level in what typically would be a lower cost type of product as opposed to a rental or XR VR type of product. We're bringing that quality level into a fixed installation panel. And that's, like I said, at the partnership level, day zero, we're working together to collaborate and make sure that that can achieve the same type of performance that you can get in the rental and staging or XR, VR. It's something that I've been passionate about because of my history as being an integrator and doing installations for 20 years. Now it's serving what the client and what the market is really looking for. So I don't know, Beer, if you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, I think the expectations, I think I'm just re-saying what you just said, but the expectations of the quality of my live event and the print materials and the advertisement materials needs to match the lobby that's in my, my lobby display or wherever else. So the consistency, again, back to that point of color and color space and all of that, just working through all of those systems is something that we're able to achieve together.
Yeah.
I think I was going to say to me is also important is reliability, right?
Yes.
Yeah. The panel has to light up. It has to be able to reproduce the colors.
Yep.
Just like our processors cannot fail. Either one of those goes, somebody notices.
Yeah.
And especially whether it's live event or maybe a permanent install.
Yeah.
Especially in House of Worship, the LED is there to enhance the message.
Yeah.
And nobody needs to see a blinking screen or a black screen.
Right.
So the LED is there to really enhance the message and get people's attention.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, obviously LEDs are becoming quite a strong part of architectural design. I mean, we are everywhere. At the same time, I mean, while in lobby, incorporate buildings is part of the brand. I mean, the way you show your content, the way that looks is gonna define your brand, the quality, the ideas, everything. I mean, it's a big part of what you want to show to your customers. At the same time, if it looks bad, it looks really bad. Yeah, a very bad experience, right? I mean, sometimes I go to stress and I feel like this could not be there.
Right.
All right, gentlemen, unsurprisingly, we're running over time. So a few questions I want us to hit to wrap things up. We've talked about history. We've talked about things we've been doing together. If you're looking down the road of LED, what trends do you see coming? What direction do you see THOR Brompton, the industry as a whole? Where are we headed?
I see that LED is starting to democratize, right? It's starting to become a little more approachable in price. So there's a demand for that, especially areas where projection has been historically important. Any corporate event nowadays is really starting to migrate towards LED. So I don't see that trend changing at all, regardless of whether or not projection may be cheaper. It's again, there's too many variables for a projection to fail. There's you have to have somebody who's going to be able to on a large wall have to come in and maintain that, right? Blend regions that drift, lamps or will decrease. So LED, the positive LED is it lasts a lot longer, and there's the color uniformity and the brightness is there. And THOR's products are fantastic. So yeah.
Barry, what do you see in the future?
I mean, for THOR immediately, I mean, we've already touched on it, but fixed installation is a really big focus right now. That's where we've been hearing everybody asking us to deliver the quality that we deliver together in that market. And so we've just announced Canvas at this show here at InfoComm. We're super excited. I won't go through the whole spiel, but it's 3.7 to 1.2 today. So there's a lot of options in that range. And so we're really excited to lean into that fixed install market and provide what we do together.
Yeah.
I want to add, I mean, 1.2 is recipe pitch for anyone that has been in the industry more than 30 years, right?
I know.
For me, quality. Doing a 1.2 pixel pitch panel that actually looks good. This is where we're going. We're going towards really high quality LED.
Yeah.
Amazing.
To me, the future, we've talked about projection. There's challenges with every new technology, but I see the adoption just continuing. More creative elements. I think we're going to continue to see that. It's no longer just relegated to Times Square and the Las Vegas, area, but it's coming to, I'll say your hometown. It's something that is becoming, again, if we look at House of Worship, how many projectors went in, and today the projector sales are in the House of Worship market. It has really, really shifted. Retail, corporate, even airports. I walk through the Minneapolis airport, there's LED everywhere now. Some of it isn't great quality, and I've seen it go in about 2 years ago, and you can already see it's degraded and it's not great. But that's where it just gets back to, buy your second LED wall first. There are differences. I think a lot of people just look and it lights up, it's LED. They are not all the same. There are differences, whether it's THOR or another brand. There really is. And that's where, my whole heart in the matter, my goal is to educate. And as people understand the differences, maybe there's a situation that if it's an ice cream shop, they don't care. It doesn't matter. It just needs to be flashy and attract customers. But if it's a corporate headquarters or if it's an XR studio, that quality level is something that is just so critical. And that's where, looking for a product that has the level of partnership like we do, I think is something that's really valuable. And, having a company that'll listen, I think that's something that Brompton has done really well. We've talked about the installation market. We've talked about shutter sync. We've talked about all the various pieces, and watching those things come to life, for me, has been really exciting to see that the future is collaboration.
Okay. Any final notes? If I'm new to LED, if I'm researching what I might need as a first-time LED user, what are your words of advice? What questions should I be asking that I may or may not know to ask?
I think there's a lot there. At the end of the day, I've said it, I think 3 times now. Determine what your goal is. Laser focus on that, and then choose the right gear, also known as set your budget appropriately to what the goal is. If you're unable to afford the gear that achieves your goal, either adjust your goal or wait, save up.
All right, I want to say, from the Brompton side specifically, there is so much material now online that you can go to but it wasn't like that in our time.
Right.
Right? So, Brompton has a free training. Anyone is welcome to join. We have many videos about the new technologies like 2110 and things like this, and we try to help these new users to get after edge with what they are doing. So just start getting used to the fence and to the technologies, just so you can understand exactly where to go, where would you want to go at some point.
Yeah, I would echo that for THOR as well. Again, I feel like our company culture is very similar, and that's why we partner together. But please reach out. We'd love to answer questions. We're always going to answer. We'll talk through. We'll educate. That's really important for us. We're an educated team, and we would love to share what we know. And we're not a sales pitchy kind of company. We'd love to just present the information and let you make your own decision.
Yeah, knowledge is power.
Yeah.
So that's what we're trying to do here with this panel and with the resources we have. So again, just appreciate the partnership.
Same.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for having us.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, thank you. This has
Thanks.
been great. Thank you for being here. Always great to see you guys. Thanks everyone for being a part of it.